Okay, guys. So in our math lesson today, we are going to go and talk a little bit about our arrays and talking about 1 by 2 digits, so like 1 times a double digit multiplication problem. All right, we would normally do this right here, like in a problem string where we've done problem strings. So we'll go over a little bit here, and then you guys will have workbook pages 232 and 233 to do when you're done. So real quick, we're going to talk about this. If this was an array, we can see and notice that this is a 5 by 3 array. So there's a couple of different ways that we could solve this multiplication question. If it was 5 times 3, right? This is the equation. This is what it would look like, right? 5 times 3. We're not quite sure what the answer is, right? So a couple different ways that we could solve this, you know, very, 1 digit times another digit number. We could skip count, right? We can count these up: 5, 10, 15, or 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, right? So there's a couple of different ways that we could solve that problem. All right. So um, let's take a look at a little bit bigger one. Okay, so let's just say that this was another array that we had seen. We notice again that there are five, or one, two, three, four, five. 5 by, and I didn't do out 10, but this is a 5 by 10 array. Okay, we can make that as a equation as well, 5 by 10, and we'll figure out that question. So this one was 15, right? Okay, so 5 by 10. We could even skip count this if we wanted to, right? 5, 10, or I'm sorry, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 5 by 10 equals a 50, all right? So what could we do? How could we solve this if we were to combine these two? So we have 5 times 3 would equal 15, and then 5 times 10. So if our equation was 5 times 13, okay, we already kind of solved two pieces of this, right? So we can make this an array very similar to what we did above. And then, okay, so we have 5, and we know this and this 10. And then we have 3, and we have that as 5. Okay, so we can kind of separate that out that way, all right? Because we already kind of did it earlier. So 5 times 10 equals what? 50, right? And then we had the 5 times 3 up here. That equals 15, right? So we can also write it out this way. 5 times 13 equals 5 times 10, we'll put the parentheses, plus 5 times 3, right? Okay, so we can solve this first part first, or this section right here first. 5 times 10 equals 50. Then we have 5 times 3 plus 5 times 3 is 15. We had already solved that. 50 plus 15 equals 65. So the 5 times 13 equals, 65. I said 65, but I wrote 60. Equals 65. Okay, that's a nice strategy that we could use to solve a problem. We just put this into a equation that makes it a little bit easier for us to do. We find, remember we talked about friendly numbers. We find friendly numbers that we could do a little easier. What if we were to see this equation right here? If you did not know it, what could be a strategy to solve that? So pause and think about it and challenge yourself to think a little bit outside the box. Okay? Well, we could look back at some of our previous problems that we did. Okay? Well, I'm not too if you think of yourself, I'm not very familiar or comfortable doing 20. That sounds like a big number to me. Well, we can make it, we know that 20 is an even number. We know that 20 is half of 10. How about we were to do this? 5, 10, and 10. Okay? What is 5 times 10? 50. We have another one of those right here, right? So we could solve it 5 times 20. Let's see, I'm running out of room. I'll write it down here, have a bit more room. 5 times 20 will equal, because we're going to basically put these in here in parentheses, 5 times 10 plus 5 times 10. Breaking that part into something a little bit more easier or manageable for us. 5 times 10 we've already figured out from right here is 50 plus another 50. That will equal what? 100. Right? Okay, last one real quick. You guys, I'm sure, are doing super duper with this. Most of you got the finding the friendly number strategy down pretty easy. Yeah, I think you got that done pretty well. Well, if we had this equation, thinking about what we've already worked on just in the last few minutes, 5 times 23 will equal something. Okay? Again, don't let that flip you out. Don't let that get you upset or not knowing what to do. Okay? Let's find that strategy we just kind of worked on just a little bit ago. Well, we figured out 5 times 20 just a little bit ago, right? And so I'm going to break this into an easier number for me, a friendlier number for me, because 23, that's a kind of an odd number. But I just figured out 5 times 20. 5 times 20 was 100, and then 5 times 3 was 15. So I can write it 5 times 23 will equal 5 times 20 plus 5 times 3, right? Because this number added with that number equals 23, right? 20 plus 3. So I figured out 20 times 5 is 100 plus 5 times 3 was 15. I add those together, I get 115. Okay? If any of this is tricking you up, you can replay it, you can pause it, you can copy exactly what I did. Okay? So don't let that part, even though you're coming up with a friendly number, trick you. You got to keep in order the 20 and the 3, because that's what we broke up here, 20 and 3. Make yourself an array. That might help you visualize this, okay? So remember, you're working on workbook pages 232 and 233. You can upload those to Seesaw when you're done, all right? All right, guys. Have a good day.